Lauren, you might not like me telling this, but
Lauren
too damn bad
Hemingway.
because you didn't pick me.
Lauren Hemingway what?
Lives out in my part of the country,
Yeah.
in Mississippi.
And?
That's why she got a B.O. box in Key West. So, but anyway, no offense, Lauren, but you should have picked me. Anyway, pick my story. Pick me,
So you
pick me,
joined
pick
the
me.
Hemingway competition.
I did. I don't believe in competitions. I don't like that. I don't think it's cool. I think it hurts kids' feelings. You know, beauty competitions and stuff. I'm always the one laughing when the cheerleader gets run down by the football team when she trips. I think that kind of stuff is hysterical.
1,000 Ways to Die.
I just, you know, it just tickles my funny bone. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But
Like Little Miss Sunshine.
yeah. So anyway, I decided this year that my story was, you know, and they've pressured me for a couple of years with suggestion coming, enter, throw something in. Oh, you got to. So this year I said, you know what? I don't get my feelings hurt. I collect rejection slips. Those are the good stuff. I don't like the pats in the back. Oh, that was so good. Oh, bull. Tell me what you really feel. Anyway, so I debated. In my story, it was called Odyssey. Pirate Odyssey. I forgot the name of the title of it. But it was something Odyssey fantastic. And throughout my story, this midget keeps appearing. And he's the midget from the Isle of Nowhere. Well, I didn't know how to bring him in and out, but he knew voodoo. He knows voodoo, and all he screams is, Agahoo, the voodoo spirit of the sea. And he screams this midget screams this, who comes from nowhere 4 different times throughout the story. As they're moving through the keys, the midget appears when the devil appears. Well, the devil, nobody knows it's the devil until the very end. This person who kept appearing, making things, and things would all go wrong. And there would be a horrible stench come through the room before it would appear before the guy. I don't know, you got to really read the story. So I debated, now, am I going to say midget through this story? Because that's really going to hurt my chances in the Hemingway literary competition, probably. Well, I started researching midget. And you know, I got a couple of friends who are midgets, right?
Uh-huh.
They appear with me in my show. They're my sidekick, right? Kinky Keith, Dr. Kinky. The men call him Mr. Kinky.
Mr. Kinky, yes.
You got to show that midget some respect. Some midgets have a sense of humor and some do not.
Right.
I do not hang around. I do not have midget friends who do not have sense of humor.
Right. Because that
My
would be
midgets
funny.
have it. Well, so Dr. Kinky, Mr. Kinky, Kinky Keith, he's got a sense of humor. He writes prescriptions. Have prescription pad, will travel. So that's my butt.
Is he really a doctor?
No.
Oh, he just writes prescriptions.
Yes.
Good for him.
Hey, midgets have to have a job too.
Good to have on the road with you, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
This is right out of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Anyway, so until, and I'd like to say this, the Marlin stole him from me, and he didn't so much as kick me in the shin when he left and tell me. He didn't tell me, so I started looking for him. I said, it's time to film another spotlight on the keys. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? No message, no nothing. He just disappeared on me. Somebody stole my midget, and I was his date to Nashville to the National Midget Convention this year. And do you know I was stood up? I ain't good enough for a midget. Oh, anyway, yeah, that's true.
This is sad.
It's really sad, but you know, Nashville flooded too while the midgets were all up there.
And the songwriters were here.
And it was the same time when those midgets were there, the National Midget Convention. Now, what do they call it? The Little People Convention. Back to the literary competition.
So it's not PC.
What's PC?
Politically correct
Yeah.
to call little
Tell
people
you.
midgets.
Who said?
I think it's
Who
not
is
correct to
this
call
thing?
little people midgets little people.
Yeah, exactly.
To
I like
me,
the way you
it's
think.
wrong the other way.
You know, and so I looked it up. So if you look up dwarf,
Yeah.
that's derogatory.
No,
Look up the
because
meaning of it.
these
No,
are not
I wish I
dwarfs.
had the dictionary here. So, oh, I did. It's in my iPhone.
Dwarfs are in the middle.
Dwarfs, hey, they don't say anything nice about them in the dictionary. Little people, the same way. There is not the best way to refer to a short person under 4 feet is midget.
Right.
How can that be offensive? But I'm going to tell you what, Gary Berghoff from MASH,
He's short.
Radar?
I met him up in Marathon.
he's got a problem. Him and Goober Pyle both, they had problems. Well, Goober's still alive. You know what I'm talking about? Gomer Pyle?
Gomer Pyle.
But I'm talking about Goober, his cousin.
Oh,
Worked at the gas-
Goober, right.
Goober.
Worked at the gas station.
Goober and Gary Berghoff, which was Radar, they both have this problem that they do not like you to call them by their stage names, by their television
Oh.
names. Even though, now if you knew him, if you knew Radar O'Reilly, Gary Berghoff, when he lived in the Keys, when he lived in
I
Marathon,
met him up there.
did you call him Radar?
Oh, hell no.
Well, you should have, because you see some fireworks going off then, and it's
No,
fun.
yeah, the people at the restaurant at the Sombrero Beach
Yeah.
Resort would call him Mr. Berghoff.
Exactly. Well, I'm in. So I don't understand this. You gain the popularity, you make a fortune off the character, but yet outside, people don't know your name is Gary Berghoff. Most people know you as Radar.
Right,
What was wrong with that character? It wasn't like he was out raping and pillaging, right?
right.
He was freaking good old Radar.
It's a happy character.
Happy character. But he had a problem with that, with being called that after the show wrapped.
Stigmatism.
Hey, so I'm in Winn-Dixie one day.
Did he ever get another gig after that show wrapped?
He would go nuts. So I'm in Winn-Dixie, and there's this cute little black guy, and he's got the new Batman haircut. I hadn't seen those yet. You know, it looks like a stencil. They cut everything else, and they stencil out different pictures. You know, lightning bolts and Batman figure, just whatever. So I hear these two little boys. I'm standing behind them and their mother, and these two little boys are talking about trick-or-treating this night. And they go, oh, but we're not going to go over to Radar O'Reilly's house. He'll cuss us out. He's scary. And I'm listening to the fear in these little boys' voices. And it's Halloween night, that Saturday before Halloween. And so I walked over to him. Plus, I wanted a picture of that little guy's head for the National Enquirer.
I bet you did.
So I went over and I said, hey, little dude, what are you talking about? You said Radar. Are you talking about Radar from MASH? He said, yeah, he lives here in Marathon. I said, he does? And he says, yeah. And he says, oh, but don't go trick-or-treating at his house tonight. He says, because he'll cuss you out. I said, what are you talking about? He said, he called us this and that and this and that. He said, he scared us. He lures you with decorations, the trick-or-treaters with decorations, and then when you trick-or-treat his house, he curses you out. And he says, my mama won't let me go over there. She says he's dangerous. And I went, really? Where does he live? Well, right down there on Sombrero Key, on the beach, right across the beach. You know what? Thank you, little boy. So I got in my car with my groceries and I drove down to Sombrero Beach, and I saw where he lived, and he happened to have all of these for sale items. A Winnebago was for sale, a boat was for sale in the yard. I went, I think I'll go knock on the door and inquire about one of these items for sale.
I'd look into Winnebago.
So I knocked on the door, and who answers the door but Gary Berghoff himself, Radar O'Reilly from MASH. And so I started talking, inquiring about the boat, and I got him out of the house. I lured him out of the house, and I said, well, tell me about the boat. How much is it? What kind of boat is it? And then as we were talking, and he thought he was getting ready to make a sale, I turned to him, I said, you know, you remind me of Radar O'Reilly. He launched into a cursing tirade. I'm telling you, curse words. He was even making up some. He called me everything. It was dirty.
Tourette's kicked in, huh?
Tourette's. I guess so. Or what do you call that when you have bipolar? He lost his cool. He didn't even care if I wasn't
Buying it or not.
It didn't matter. He lost it. And he went in and called the police. Well, of course, I left for the police.
Well, you didn't tell him, hey, Radar O'Reilly, you weren't even calling him that you reminded me of someone. And
He just, for some reason, that character that made him wealthy, the reason why he was able to live in the Florida Keys in that beautiful home.
Have the house and the boat and the RV and stuff to sell.
I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand the lack of appreciation for, for your audience.
Where is he now?
He's dead in the grave.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. So anyway,
I guess we can call him Radar now.
I see him in the Kmart. I'm pushing, now this is like a week later, and I'm pushing a buggy through Kmart, and I come up behind him. I recognize his shortness and his stubbiness, and I went, oh my God, that's Radar. So I went around the opposite way so I could meet him head on. And so I was casually shopping, looking up at this eye, and looking at this item left to right, and all of a sudden there he was. And he says, it's you! It's you! He started pointing. He started losing his cool. I never said anything to him. He says, it's her! Somebody call the police! And I said, what is the matter with you? I've never seen you in my life. Man, you need to be locked up. And then he cooled down. He realized he must have looked to the outside like a nut. I said, I have never seen you in my life, mister. You need medication. You need some serious help. And then he says, you know what? He says, I'm sorry. He said, you're right. He says, I'm sorry. He said, this woman has come to my house. And he says, and she's harassing me. And he says, I just thought you looked like her. You had blonde hair. I said, how many people in the Florida Keys, sir, have blonde hair? And he says, I'm really sorry. And I leaned over after everybody cooled down and everybody went about their business. I leaned over to, I said, it was me, Radar. Anyway, oh my God, call the police! And I watched him light up again. Then, about a week after that, I'm at the theater there by the Crack Conch.
Uh-huh.
And I'm standing in the lobby. Now, I don't know he's there. Or maybe I do. I don't remember at this point. You know, I'm just having some fun with a crazy person.
Right.
You
Oh,
know?
Brass Monkey, Crack Conch over there.
Yeah, right up in there. So I'm in the lobby of the theater. I don't know, some performance. I wish I could remember the performance. Maybe he was in the performance. I don't know. And he sees me in the lobby. And he starts that freak out again. But there's a cop there this time. The sheriff or somebody's there in there to keep the peace and, you know, at the theater. And when he started that, well, it kind of scared me. I said, oh my God, the cops are too close. I really have no escape point here, you know. And so I went over to the police. I said, what is this man's problem? Who is this insane human being? I've never seen this man before in my life. And he says, that's Gary Burghoff. He says, he thinks he knows you. He does this all the time. We just ignore him. So he just loses his cool. And
All the time.
yeah, so I wrote this for the one of the papers here in the Florida Keys. That story ran.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun. Then my baby brother comes from Mississippi to visit me.
Oh, God.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's a marathon, for crying out
Take him out
loud.
to
You
see
gotta
Gary
make your
Burghoff.
own fun. Yeah, let's go to Gary's house. Oh, my mother would
all
really
right.
appreciate
This time you say Radar.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I'm sitting across the street with the binoculars, and I said, you go up there and you knock on the door and you get him out, and I'm going to take some pictures. And but I warned the kid first, and I want to do that to my brother. And he knocks on the door. Radar opens the door, and my brother walks through it, and the door closes behind him. And I went, oh, this is not part of the plan. Radar's supposed to come out.
He went in?
My brother goes in, the door closes. It's 20 minutes later, and I'm going, oh my God, Radar has my brother. My mother's going to kill me. I hope I get him back. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and fine. So what happened was Radar thought that Chris, my brother Chris, was his daughter's friend at school. He had a daughter the same age as as my brother Chris. So we just let him in. And I said, well, what did you do in there? He says, well, I just sort of looked around, and they had snacks. And, oh, by the way, I got their phone number for you, too. And I went, oh, you got Radar's phone number? This is even better. I can call him on the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning and have a little fun.
The Radar.
So as we're talking, so Chris comes out. It's like an hour that he stays in there. I'm in a panic. I don't know how to rescue my brother from there. I don't know if he has him kidnapped, hog
Duct tape.
You know, I'm thinking all kinds of stuff.
Handcuff.
This man's insane. And
Tortured him in the... He wipes the lotion on the skin.
Oh, yeah.
In the well.
I remember that. Oh, that was scary. So anyway, as Chris is telling me everything that's going on inside the house, we're going to the McDonald's drive-up window, and he's talking about the daughter who came in at the last minute, and he points, he says, and there she is. Radar's daughter was the girl in the window at McDonald's taking orders. So I guess that could have been funnier. Maybe you had to be there, but it was funny. Anyway, poor Radar. What a butthole.
We should get his daughter and get some interviews. That'd be funny.
I don't think she'd have many nice things to say about it.
I guess
But you know what? I'm not saying because, I mean, she had to see that bipolarness. You know, she had to live with that. He didn't just do that to people. Can you imagine when he saw a rerun of MASH where they called him Radar over and over and over? Oh my God.
Which I thought, you know, he was a great actor. It was
I
a great
thought so,
part.
too.
It was the only thing I ever saw him in. I know he did some local theater, though. I heard they did community theater here. He tried to get something going on.
Well, he shouldn't have had such a lovable character.
Yep, and he should have had a better attitude about it.
And that's the same with Goober Pyle. Goober is the same thing. You call Goober Goober?
He loses it.
I mean, I don't even know Goober's real name. And he was cool with me. I was doing an interview with him. I can't remember his name. I knew it at the time. Of course, I would never go into an interview without knowing a person's real name.
Uh-huh.
And, but he was another one that had
I
the
was
same
like that when I
attitude.
met, what's her name, in Maury, Amsterdam. Remember the couple that were...
Mary Tyler Moore?
No, the other one, the older lady.
Rosemary?
Rosemary
With the
And-
bow in her hair?
Yeah, and Maury Amsterdam, and I met them for a PBS special in Miami, and he was happy to talk about all his old shit.
What about Rosemary?
She was fine too.
She have a
They were
bow in her
great.
hair?
Yeah, they're hysterical. They're slapping each other around and shit.